LSU Odyssey Oddcast special edition. Breaking news. Well, you already know that news. But Brian Kelly is now LSU's head coach. Recruits have confirmed it to me. People in the know have confirmed that to me. People on the team have confirmed that to me. This all went down just a bit ago, in the last 48 hours, where people were actually finally told. I think Scott Woodward could tell things were going down because a recruit that I'm pretty tight with actually asked Woodward straight up during the A&M game, hey man, who's going to be the next coach? And Woodward didn't reveal it, but he did give a little clue. He called him a war daddy, and the rest I'm going to keep off the record, but it might kind of point to who this person is. But he did call this guy a war daddy, okay? And now, as we know, that head coach is now Notre Dame's Brian Kelly. Okay, that name pissed a lot of LSU fans off immediately. People were losing it, screaming for Lane Kiffin. And, when I thought about it at first, I was like, Lane Kiffin's still on the board and we're not going to go for Lane Kiffin? That's a guy who I think would fit here so much better, and I think he would fit better than Brian Kelly. Lane Kiffin would be the guy. He's the sexy pick. He's the guy that makes more sense here, right? The offensive genius, kind of more in line with Lincoln Riley. Everything seemed like, if you lost out on Lincoln Riley, at least you're going to get Lane Kiffin, right? And you probably won't have to spend extremely top dollar to get Lane Kiffin, right? Well, as we've come to find out, we're going to have to spend top dollar to get a lot of people, because Brian Kelly is going to be paid something like $10 million a year. Something like is $95 million for 10 years, I believe, is what LSU have officially reported. $95 million for 10 years for Brian Kelly. $9.5 million per year, $95 million contract. Just under probably what we were offering and going to pay Lincoln Riley. Now, I actually, a lot of people were pissed. A lot of LSU fans were disgusted by the hire. I could see it in the message boards. Don't try and pretend like you weren't. Don't try and pretend like you weren't crapping on Woodward and all this stuff. I was at the beginning, I was like, I'm on the fence here. I don't know what to think. And we put up a video last night that kind of depicts that. We, on one hand, are saying this is what we're hearing. We're hearing that the players love this. We're hearing that the players are on board. But on the other hand, you couldn't get Lane Kiffin. It's kind of interesting. And after really thinking about it, after really going through my Kelly research, just blocking out every other opinion that really I don't trust, accepting only the ones that I trust and people who I know football. And then I look into it and I'm just delving into his history. And they can talk about him losing the championships. They can talk about him losing in the CFP. They can talk. He was at Notre Dame, for God's sake, okay? This guy was able to steal Prince Collie, a linebacker. I mean, the guy was able to steal Marcus Freeman from LSU for his defensive coordinator. Think about this, okay? This guy, with Woodward's resources, and then you got a fan base that just wants to win. They don't care how. They don't care who. They just want to win. And then you've got top-of-the-line elite athletes, top to bottom, a lot of whom love Brian Kelly from the recruiting trail. And then you've got a 2022 recruiting class that is all in on the Brian Kelly hire. Specifically, as LSUODYSSEY.COM put out a quote from Walker Howard, him saying he's absolutely fired up go check out that quote. We put out a story on it, and it's on our Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. I felt like we needed to put that quote out to kind of fire up the fan base, and Walker was, with his permission, he was all on board. And I think what you need to know about Brian Kelly from my research is this guy wanted this challenge. He wanted to come into the SEC and prove he belongs as a coach in that top tier. I think he belongs in that top tier in coaching anyway, but I feel like he hasn't been given his dues over time, and probably hasn't been given his dues by me. He probably hasn't been given his proper dues by me, even myself. But when I look at Kelly and the prospects of him at LSU, I get very excited. I start to feel like this is the voice Scott Woodward was craving. This is the type of discipline the players were craving. But at the same time, he's a player's coach. He's a manager in a way. He's a CEO in a way, but he knows what he's doing. He knows what he's doing football wise, and he makes the right hires. I mean, just the stealing Marcus Freeman alone from so many suitors like that was quite impressive. Just stealing him out of the clutches of Cincinnati, but let alone LSU, right out of the jaws of the LSU program. I mean, we have to give Scott Woodward here a lot of credit, because whether he was bamboozled by Lincoln Riley or whether he bamboozled us, no one had a clue that it was Brian Kelly. No one. No one had a clue until it was leaking and dropping and the players were starting to find out. That's a testament to a just absolutely grade A coaching search. That's what LSU should be doing. That's what LSU should be about. It is, not just giving out information injury-wise and all that type of stuff, keeping the program secrets in-house. I think that's what you're going to see from now on, and the media is going to have to scramble. We're going to have to get a lot better at our jobs. Coach Orgeron made it a lot easier for all of us. The quotes were just flying out there. The news information was just flying out there. No one had a clue about Kelly, and that was how they wanted it. And who knows? I don't think Kelly was a last-minute thing, though. I don't think Kelly was even a last few days thing. I think Kelly was always there, all along. I think Lincoln Riley was the option. I think they floated with Lincoln Riley. I think that was rebuffed. They could tell he was using him for USC, and they went with Kelly. And they went strong, all in with Kelly. He's a backup decision. $9.5 million a year proves that without a doubt. Kelly, he's going to bring in the pedigree. I don't know who he's going to keep. I don't know who. I know a few tidbits of information. I know that Mickey Joseph and LSU are not on the same page right now, and it's looking like he might not go. Might not stay and might be going to Nebraska. Who's to know there? But it's looking more like Mickey Joseph might not return to LSU, the longtime wide receivers coach and assistant head coach, which could mean that some top receivers leave with him, specifically Deion Smith. But Kevin Falk and Corey Raymond will be retained. We know offensive lineman coach Brad Davis is going to be retained. So it's looking like I think he's going to pick and choose the best elements of this staff and retain them. And I'm so glad he's chosen to keep Corey Raymond. I'm so glad Raymond's staying. I'm so glad Kevin Falk is going to be back in the picture. Seeing Falk back in the picture just has to warm your heart after what that man's been through. And knowing he's going to be part of the future of LSU with Kelly is a beautiful thing. He has to be. Corey Raymond, he had to be as well. So right now, it's all about, who's going to go, who's going to stay. And, there's some rumblings within the quarterback room about what's going to happen, who's going to go, and we're going to try and deliver that news if we can to you. It's still in a very delicate, sensitive situation as far as transfers and people who are going to stay or go. If we can break it, we can break it, but I'm not going to burn people to break news here. These are their futures on the line, and this is a new coach here. This is a new era for LSU, and I'm excited. I feel like Brian Kelly is going to... I think he's going to win a championship at LSU. I'm going to say it right now. I think Brian Kelly, with this nucleus especially in the next 5 years, is going to win a national championship. The way he manages his programs, I just feel like this is exactly what LSU needed. This is exactly the direction LSU wanted to head in and should have, because maybe the characters like Lane Kiffin, Coach O, all those, maybe that was the last thing LSU needed, and I think it's the last thing Scott Woodward wanted. So I'm all in on the Brian Kelly hire, especially when I heard that Walker Howard was all in, and that was kind of as I suspected, but still, it's to hear the confirmation, that's big time. Now let's hope we can see Max Johnson get on board. Let's hope we can see Jake Johnson get on board. Let's hope we can see all the 2022 guys. And let's hope we can keep as much of this roster intact, because we've got some great returning talent on both sides of the ball. So, with that, Brian Kelly to LSU, $9.5 million a year, 10-year deal. Wow. Go Tigers, baby.